Lev returned to his own place. Joseph and Zina greeted him with happiness and worry. They had lived in his room for 3 years already, and the prospect of moving back to their parents' crowded apartment troubled them badly. However, the thought of showing his brother and his family the door had never crossed Lev's mind. So, they lived together, as if they had lived like this their entire lives. Zina was a big and noisy woman, always behaving as if she was in charge. She considered herself a very lucky woman and wished the same for her sister, Rita. Rita is a very good girl for you, she told Lev about her plans. She is very pretty, smart. And if you like these kinds of bags, she laughed, shaking her huge breasts, then you've got it, babe. Lev didn't reply. Rita visited her sister and spent a couple of days with the family. But Lev didn't pay any special attention to her. He's just a little shy. Zina tried to explain his behavior. Hello, my dear girl. Lev wrote to Betty. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you again. Talisman. I dream of covering you with kisses, touching your face, wrapping you in my arms, and never letting you go. I can't wait for you to pass your exams and come to me. I'm desperate to see you again. I wish you could come to me sooner. I will love you always. Lev. Hello my dear Lev. You can congratulate me. I passed my finals. I'm a certified surgical nurse. I should be happy, but I'm not. I wish I could come to Leningrad to see you. I know that I promised to come to you, but I can't. I received a letter from my sister, Ada. My dad returned home from Siberia, and he is in a terrible condition. She also wrote that my mom got sick because she worked too hard. She wrote that their condition was so bad that they might die. I couldn't let it happen, so I'm in Minsk now with my family. I found out that they don't have money for firewood. Also, the stove is broken and it's almost winter time. The apartment is cold, so I'm taking care of them now. I found a nursing job at a local hospital. Thank God my specialty is in demand. Let me bring my parents back to life. I promise I'll come to you as soon as I can. I love you. Talisman. However, it wasn't meant to happen. In a couple of months, Lev was drafted into the Finland Winter War of 1939. They thought that the draft would last for a couple of weeks. And soldiers used to joke about Finland by saying, "What kind of country is it?" With just 3 million people, they felt very strong and confident being citizens of a country with a population of 180 million people. However, the Soviet army was not ready for this war. While Stalin was murdering the most experienced military officers of the country, weakening the Soviet army's strength, Finland was getting ready for the war very seriously. Building a fortified defensive line, training soldiers, and working on strategies. The Finland army was not big, but ready. Despite the size of the Soviet army, it was neither organized nor prepared for the war. The Soviets' commanders were inexperienced youths unfit for the task. The weather was brutal. Cool days gave way to frigid nights. And the night skies sucked all the warmth out of the land. The cold wind blew. Lev's battalion was ordered to walk through muddy swamps to get closer to Finland's borders. It was an exhausting, never-ending crossing, and food was not distributed to the troops through these swamps. Soldiers starved and got sick. The commanders kept rushing them, yelling and threatening, but it didn't help. Instead, it weakened the already damaged soldiers' patriotic spirit. Exhausted from the trip, the soldiers were given an order to attack. To their surprise, the Finnish army threw them back. This small country turned out to be a hard nut, too difficult to crack. The Soviets retreated and were ordered to walk a long way to approach Finland's borders from another side. They stretched out for dozens of miles along a narrow road. The commanders yelled, rushing the soldiers as usual, but it was impossible to walk faster. It was the end of the frosty December. Lev barely moved his legs and he couldn't feel his face anymore because it was frozen. The gloves helped just a little, and the machine gun became heavier and heavier with every step. Suddenly, the Finns attacked in different places, dividing the Soviets into smaller groups. Explosions and smoke disoriented the soldiers, creating panic and chaos. They didn't yet know that. After the very first explosions, their commanders ran away, betraying their army and leaving the soldiers with no plan, nor any leaders to make decisions to attack, retreat, or surrender. Some soldiers fought, some ran, and some laid down, digging themselves into the snow to hide from the Finnish army's bullets, but in reality, they dug their own graves. The frostiness put them to sleep and to death. The lack of leadership caused tremendous losses. Lev had been trained well while serving in mandatory army, but the war conditions were far beyond anything he was prepared for. Though he managed to survive by hiding in trenches and forests, running through muddy swamps, skating over the frozen lakes, and eating sparrows, if he was lucky enough to shoot them. At nighttime, he prepared for battles by digging trenches through the snow in frozen ground. During the day, the sun warmed up the ground, melting the snow, and the water came up in the trenches. It was easy to get wet feet, and wet feet in freezing winter meant death. It was exhausting to stand against the walls of the trenches the entire day to keep feet dry. An attack was a relief, even though the risk of being killed during an attack was high. 6 long, bloody months had passed, and hundreds of thousands had died. Lev survived the war, managing to endure cold, starvation, and enemy bullets. At the beginning of March 1940, the war was over, and Lev came back to Leningrad. Joseph and Zina had their second child. Even though Lev's room was overcrowded, the family was glad that he returned from the war, especially Zina. She hadn't given up on her dream for her sister. Lev, Rita is in love with you so deeply. You are one lucky guy. She is such a good cook. She can't wait to see you again. Why don't you write her a letter and invite her to come? She is waiting. Lev wrote a letter. Hello, my beautiful talisman. Finally, the war is over, and I'm back in my room. I got a medal for bravery, but it didn't make me happy. My world is only beautiful if you are next to me. Nothing matters to me but you. I'm so lucky to have you in my life. I wish you could come to me sooner. You are my first thought in the morning, in my dreams at night, and throughout every moment in between. I still feel your touch, remembering the last time I was holding your hands. I sense the warmth of our togetherness and the sweet moments of love. The caress of your lips. The fragrance of your breath. The warmth of your embrace. Sweetheart, with you, every moment seems like an everlasting dream. I want to hear your voice. And I hold my breath while you speak to me. I want to enjoy the softness of your lips, touch your curls, and breathe your freshness inside me. My dear girl, I want to tell you everything while looking into your beautiful green eyes, holding you in my arms, but I can't wait. I need to tell you now that I love you. I wish to spend the rest of my life loving you. Please marry me. I will be a very good husband to you. I will be a very good father to your children. I will take care of you always. And I will love you for as long as I live. Please, just say yes. I will love you always. Lev, she wrote back to him. Yes, I'll marry you, my love.